Is there an alternative to antibiotics? Because from the way you kind of described it, it's like we can say it's like a nuclear bomb that just
It's
gets
not a
rid of it.
nuclear bomb. Sometimes if you have an infection, you need antibiotic to clear that infection. So antibiotics are not always bad.
What is the difference between a biomedical scientist and a biomedical engineer or the industry itself, right? In your research, there was a lot of microbiome and microbiota. What is the difference between microbiomes and microbiota? Let's say we're done with the part of the brain. Now comes the part of the placenta and the reproductive systems that you were talking about. What is the relation between the microbiomes and the reproductive systems?
It's good for the mother to have a healthy diet. And usually women, when they are pregnant, they feel that they could eat for two persons. It's not, it shouldn't be like that way. You should eat healthy, keep your weight, because we have lots of very high level of high incidence of gestational diabetes in Qatar. And it's like 25% compared to other countries.
Welcome everyone. This is Hussein Mohamed on another episode of podcast Athar, where we follow trails to success. Normally, when we think of the medical sector, the first two actors that come to our minds are the doctors and the nurses. But in fact, the entire sector works with so many gears together to work for the overall development of it. And one of the most important gears in this sector are the biomedical scientists. And on that note, we have today Dr. Maha Al-Asmakh, one of the top 40 scientists according to the American Society of Clinical Pathology. How are you, doctor?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
So we'll start by knowing more about you. So who's Dr. Maha?
I can define myself as a clinical scientist and academics. I received my bachelor in biomedical sciences from Qatar University in 2004. As soon as I graduated, I was hired as a teaching assistant, and immediately I continued my master's degree in human reproductive biology from Imperial College London, and I graduated in 2005. Then I came back. I worked for 2 years as a teaching assistant at the Department of Biomedical Sciences. I was teaching practical courses, assisting the instructors. Then I moved on and continued my PhD at Karolinska Institutet in Stockholm, Sweden. And I graduated in 2014. And now I'm back to my department. I'm chairing the department that I graduated from. And I'm teaching a couple of courses and doing admin work and doing research, like a normal academic.
It's impressive how your entire cycle came back to the same place where you started from. And seeing the rhythm that you were working in, it's, we can say, a very work-oriented person you are. And we wanted to know, since you graduated and you have a family to balance with work, how were you able to balance family and work at the same time?
To be honest, you need a support group. As a mother, you cannot do it by yourself if you are a working mom. And you need your support from your husband, from your mother, your sister. But this support group is very crucial actually.
So we can say we have a set of co-mothers helping with you in the whole process.
Yeah, mother-in-laws, they were all very helpful, to be honest.
And it's very important to have that sort of support group around you. And to be honest, I made my research before you come, and your percentage from high school was very high. Why biomedical sciences?
To be honest, at that time, I finished my high school in 2000. And at that time, at Qatar, we didn't have a medical school. Engineering was not available for females. It was only offered for males. So I had two options, either to study business or to do biomedical science or do computer science. So I chose biomedical science. It was the closest to my heart, and I never regret it, really.
Seeing the achievements, of course, it's very impressive. we can say it was sort of a destiny for you, maybe because these things were not available and you went to this sector, you became the person you are today. And it's very important looking at a Qatari woman in the research field being so prominent. So how do you feel about that achievement, and how do you feel about other women, and what would you say to other women in the sector about the research field?
I mean, research is growing in Qatar, to be honest, and we have lots of opportunities, lots of funds from Qatar University, from QRDI. But they have really good and big grants to support researcher, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, if you are working in academia at the university, you have your students. You cannot do research without student, master student, PhD student. They are really the backbone of research. Yeah.
Considering that the energy they have, of course,
yes.
It helps you a lot to just sort of guide that energy, and the energy will bring you back with a good product and a good yield at the end. Yes.
Exactly.
So considering that, do you think that the research field is being helpful? Because there was a very important question to me when I was researching into all of this. What is the difference between a biomedical scientist and a biomedical engineer, or the industry itself, right? So I wanted to know what is the difference between them to you, at least.
You come from an engineering background, I
yes.
understand. So that's why you're asking this question. But a biomedical scientist, we bring the knowledge. Like, we work in the diagnostic lab, we generate data, we get the result of the patients. The biomedical engineer, I'm not really familiar, but I believe they work on the product. Like the machines
Mm-hmm.
that are, let's say, in the lab. I think they can be worked upon through the biomedical engineers. But for us, we do the wet lab.
Mm-hmm.
We do the diagnostic part of the.
So you provide the information, and we can say that the engineers are the one that just think of the solution.
Yes.
It's a team effort overall.
Exactly. Yeah.
So regarding your research. And I wanted to know more about your most recent achievements and your most recent research. Can you talk to us more about it?
In terms of achievement, I can say I won 4 awards that I'm very proud of. The first one was in 2015, where I went to Ireland and I presented my research, and I won the Young Investigator Award. Yeah, that was
from a young age as well. Okay.
Well, that was really, I didn't expect that, but it was an international award. I'm very proud of it, and one of the most precious award to my heart and close to my heart. And when I was selected for the best PhD as a best PhD holder in Qatar في يوم التميز العلمي, and the Educational Excellence Day, and this is a translation in English. And I had the honor to be to shake hand with سمو الأمير Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. This was like I felt special at that day, to be honest. That's why they call it تميز, Excellence Day, because we were selected, and it was a bit competitive. Like, you have to submit an application, and they look at your achievements. But that was one of the most important day I can say in my life. Then the third one was I was selected as the L'Oreal for women in health, the UNESCO L'Oreal for Women in Health Award. So this I had to travel to Dubai, and it was like a joint award between L'Oreal and UNESCO, and they select the top woman in science in the GCC, and I was representing Qatar.
That's very impressive. Wow.
The fourth one, the most recent one, is the top 40.
Yes, the top 40 scientists.
The top 40 scientists by the American Society of Clinical Pathology.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And may I ask you, which is your favorite?
The Excellence Award.
The Excellence Award.
Yeah, mm-hmm. the Educational Excellence Award.
Mm-hmm. And for the Young Investigator, which one of your papers was it that won you the award?
That was the role of the placenta, the role of microbiome on placental development. How the microbiome could shape the development of the placenta, how it could affect. So I showed that if you don't have a microbiome, then your placenta will be less developed, the blood vessel won't be formed properly, and that would affect the offspring.
So before we get into microbiome and the placenta and the efficiency of the placenta, because I have noticed that this is one of your major topics that you talked about in your research papers, we want to just break down some key terminologies for the audience first. So what is biomedical science, and how does it look between the past, now, and what would it look like in the future?
So biomedical science is the field of laboratory science. So we have, I can say that if someone wants to specialize and become a biomedical scientist, you should take these 5 core courses like hematology, immunology, blood bank, clinical chemistry, microbiology. So you should be familiar with these 5 core disciplines, I can say. And then you can, once you graduate, so our graduates are medical laboratory scientists, and usually they sit for the ASCP exam, for like it's a board exam, and they become certified, and they can work everywhere. So they can either go for the diagnostic lab, like maybe they choose the hematology lab, and they test the blood of the patients, or some will go to the microbiology lab and will test do cell culture for the bacteria. Others will go to the clinical chemistry lab and will look at the blood glucose and hormones and so on. But some others, like me, will continue in academia and do the research and do their master and PhD. But these are the 2 paths for a biomedical scientist.
And seeing biomedical science from the past until now, what does it look like?
It's changed a lot. Before, like now, everything, maybe now the biomedical engineer are coming in. In the old days, we were doing everything manual. Like let's give an example about the cytopathology lab, like where you look at the cells and you stain, you put the cells on the slide and you look at the differences in the cell shape, because during cancer, the cells will change in shape. Before, we were taking the slide, staining it. We do everything manual, like put the stain on the slide, then wash the slide, and then put the other stain. Now everything is automated. Like you have a machine that you just put the sample in that machine, and he will do and the machine will do the staining, will put the cover slip, will do everything for you. So it changed really. Now everything is automated.
Speaking of automation, it brings me to my second question. So you can clearly see that automation is helping a lot with the process. And of course, it increases rates of accuracy. With artificial intelligence, I heard that in some of the health colleges in QU, they are starting to use AI within the teaching system. So what do you think about the future of AI in biomedical science?
Yes, like AI, I believe that AI is the future, but it won't replace the biomedical scientists. We still need the biomedical scientists. Let's say like with the histopathology, or the cytopathology, when you diagnose cancer, let's say you have a lump and you want to make sure that this lump is benign or malignant, يعني خبيث أو حميد. How would you know? You have to take a biopsy from the lump and put it on a slide, stain it, and look at it under the microscope. If the tissue or cells they change, then it's cancer. Now we can use the AI to predict. But the AI, you have to teach them to feed it with data first, and then the AI will tell you if this is it's a cancer or it's a benign. But AI could really help in predicting cancer.
So AI is more of just something that will take the information that you research and you do yourself, and then after that, the information and the data that they have is going to be aided in the process of investigating for diseases or for whatever investigations.
And actually, they are using AI now. Like I have a reproductive background, so in the IVF and IVF in vitro fertilization for if I say it in Arabic, معمل مساعدة على الإنجاب. When the embryologist would like to select the best embryo to transfer to the female, they actually rely on AI. The AI will tell them, because usually when you go for IVF, you have many embryos. You could have 5 embryos, but they are at different stages. Some they are good quality, they will have better chance of implantation and then a pregnancy. Others will have less likely to be for the mother to become pregnant. The AI could tell you, they will tell the embryo, just take this embryo, discard this embryo. So they actually use it now in the reproductive lab at Hamad Medical Cooperation.
So it's becoming more of a professional thing.
Yes.
It's increasing more over time.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are misconceptions that you think that there are about biomedical scientists?
Misconception about the medical science? I think we are not being appreciated. I believe that the biomedical scientists, they are the backbone. We are the soldiers behind the, for to diagnose a cancer, to know that the blood test, the microbiology, everything is done. We provide the result for the doctors, and based on our result, the doctor will say that this patient has this disease or that disease, and according to our result, the doctor will prescribe the medication. So I believe we are like the soldiers.
Yes, the aiding soldiers.
The aidings, and we don't have contact with the patient. We work in the backyard.
Not in the backyard, but you work and you help.
Yeah.
And regarding biomedical science in Doha specifically, do you think it's growing? And
Yes.
what are the directions of it? Where is it going specifically?
Well, the biomedical science at Qatar University is the oldest health related discipline. It was established in 1984, and it has been growing. I can see that we have the best graduate actually from biomedical sciences.
And does Doha focus on specific research in the biomedical science field? Are there specific research that Qatar focuses on that you can say Qatar University is working with as well?
Well, they have priority themes at Qatar University. Like they focus on infectious disease, on metabolic diseases like cardiovascular and diabetes. They focus on cancer, but they have health priority themes that they encourage. Like the most common diseases in Qatar, they mostly ask encourage the researcher to work on these, to do research in these areas.
So you start working on basically the community issues that are available, and then these are the priority ones, and then you start expanding more based on the priority.
Yes, and when we had COVID, the Biomedical Research Center at Qatar University, they published in high impact journal in Lancet, Nature Medicine, Journal of Travel Medicine. So I think we are in the right direction.
I wanted to ask you regarding COVID-19 specifically. Do you think that sort of issue that happened was basically the reason the biomedical science field went on a very, very high tangent where they are growing a lot faster? Because it was a whole sudden case, right, for the entire world where everyone decided to start working at a much higher pace. Do you think that was one of the key points biomedical sciences is recognized more now?
Actually, during COVID, the employment rate for our graduates was 100%. Everybody had a job because they wanted to test the COVID. They wanted the biomedical scientists. So they created job opportunities, although it's as a pandemic as well. It created job opportunities for our graduates.
One of the very few fields that was getting benefit out of the entire thing. And regarding the Middle East in general, do you think the Middle East and the research that is being built in the Middle East is aiding the entire world in terms of research? And how impactful is the Middle East research for biomedical science in the entire world?
I think yes. We are growing. The research in the Middle East is growing actually, and we have better funds now compared to the old days when I started. We didn't have enough fund, but now I think the mentality has changed, and even the ranking of Qatar University, the ranking depends on the research outcome. So even Qatar University jumped in ranking. We were 208 in the QS ranking, and now we jumped 35 steps. So now we are 173. And Qatar University is the second best Arab universities in the Middle East. So I believe we are on the right track, actually.
Okay, so you've published a research with the title Anti-Cancer Effect of Matcha using zebrafish as an animal model. Can you tell us more about that research?
So that was a master project. Like, I had a master student from the Department of Nutrition, and we wanted to have like a project that has the biomedical arm and a nutrition arm. So I do lots of research on zebrafish, and she wanted to see the effect of matcha. She was interested in matcha tea on the cancer development. So what we did is we took the zebrafish, we injected cancer cells in these zebrafish to check the metastasis, how the cancer spread in zebrafish, and we exposed these zebrafish with matcha. So after exposure for 1 to 2 days, we found out that the metastasis has decreased. It's a positive effect on the. We could say, but this is need further research, of course. We could say that the matcha could decrease the metastasis or the spread of cancer in zebrafish.
And being honest, was there a proper reason for why matcha was specifically used, or it was more of just very basic research for matcha, where it was chosen for this entire research?
To be honest, it's because I had a nutrition student, and we wanted something to be related to nutrition, and we know that matcha has many beneficial effects. Matcha is very and many people don't like the taste of matcha, but it has really good effect on health.
Effects, yes.
It's a healthy drink. Yeah.
And what other projects did you enjoy researching?
When I was a PhD student, I was doing lots of animal work. Like I was working on my research during my PhD was on the microbiome. So how to study the microbiome? The microbiome is the collective bacteria, viruses, microorganism that covers the body. So we have like a skin microbiome, gut microbiome. Mention it. Every organ in the body has its own microbiome. So in order to study the effect of microbiome, we had like an animal model. It's called germ-free. So these mice, they were germ-free. They don't have any bacteria. They have no good, no bad bacteria. And these animals, they were housed, because if you are exposed to air, you will have the normal bacteria, right? So we had these mice. So we had these mice in an isolator. Like they were kept in an isolator. If you want to hold them, you have to put your hand in an isolator, and they are not exposed. They are exposed to filtered air. Everything that was their food was autoclaved, and everything was sterile for these mice. And I use these mice that have no bacteria, and I compare them to the control mice who has the normal bacteria, and then you see the differences. So I was looking at the effect of microbiome on the permeability of the blood-brain barrier. We know that the blood-brain barrier is closed. Usually, nothing should go. It's not nothing should pass the brain. Brain is a very precious organ, but it has this barrier. So specific things could cross the blood-brain barrier, and other things they shouldn't cross the blood-brain barrier. So we checked the blood-brain barrier in the germ-free mice and in the normal mice, and we saw that if you don't have any microbiome, your blood-brain barrier, you can say it's open. You have an increased permeability in the blood-brain barriers. And if you take these mice and expose them to good bacteria, it will close. So basically, this was like one of the main findings during my PhD.
Mm-hmm. And why specifically were you focusing on microbiomes?
Because microbiome is, we have microbiome everywhere. It's like, and people are taking now probiotics because they have beneficial effect on health. So I wanted to know what was the effect of microbiome on the blood-brain barrier, on the placenta, I also يعني my PhD was the effect of microbiome on the not only the blood-brain barrier. I also checked the blood testis barrier. I also checked the blood placenta barrier. You know, some organs like they are very precious. They have a barrier, like the testicle. They have like nothing should go in and out. The placenta also has the barrier to protect the fetus from toxins and so on. But some organs, like the kidney, I mean, the kidney, you need the barrier to be open, right? You need. What's the function of the kidney? To get to clear the blood and get rid of the toxin. So you need it to be. If you look at the the barrier, I can say the barrier. At the exchange in the kidney, you will see it's fenestrated. There is no barrier because you want to get rid of to facilitate getting rid of the toxins.
And there's something that I was slightly interested in, that microbiomes are not considered a part of the immune system, but they are guardians of, and they help the immune system.
Yes.
So why are they different from the immune system specifically?
They are not different from the immune system. The immune system doesn't attack them. Like the germ-free mice, they have if you don't have a proper microbiome, your immune system will be less developed. For these germ-free mice, they have a less developed immune system. You need the microbiome. Even they say sometimes, if you heard about the hygiene hypothesis. So if you are like very clean, you are more prone to get allergy, to get infection. Like see at the people like in developing countries like India, they don't have allergies because they are used to be in an unclean environment.
Yeah,
you can
so
say.
it creates resistance.
Look at the European, or if you are totally clean, you are not exposed to the normal bacteria. You will.
You're more prone to be sick, as you said.
Yeah.
So we can say that microbiomes are basically like the guardians at the start of the castle, that will be also helping in defending the body, but the proper castle is the immune system, right?
Yes.
So in your research, there was a lot of microbiome and microbiota. What is the difference between microbiomes and microbiota?
The microbiome has the genes of the it's more collective. I can say the microbiome, it includes the genes, but the microbiota talks mostly is focused on the bacteria itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the relationship between the microbiomes and the brain. We wanted to ask you more, what is the mechanism and how do microbiomes work with the brain exactly?
One of the mechanisms that the microbiome affected the permeability of blood-brain barrier, it affected the tight junction protein. So the blood-brain barrier have endothelial cells, like blood cells, and they are glued together by the tight junction proteins. So if you don't have a proper microbiome, if you are a germ-free mice, these tight junction, their expression was less compared to the normal mice. So if you have less tight junction, your blood-brain barrier will be more. The cells will be away from each other, and then it will be more permeable.
And what is the effect of permeability on the human body itself and on the human?
Yeah, and you need the blood-brain barrier to be closed. You don't want a permeable. The brain is a very precious organ. So you should control what goes in, what goes out. And we control that through the blood-brain barrier. So if it's open, maybe toxins, other unhealthy compounds could cross the blood-brain barrier and cause negative effects on health.
And considering drugs are basically, they're called drugs because they can actually access the brain barrier and they can pass through, right?
Not all drugs can access the blood-brain barrier. It depends on the structure of the blood, the drugs.
The drug.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the ones that can pass, can we use microbiomes to basically control them and reverse the effect? Because you said that microbiomes are used to basically increase permeability in a way, right? Can we use microbiomes?
If you don't have the microbiome, you will have an open blood-brain barrier and you will have increased permeability, right? But if you have the proper microbiome, your blood-brain barrier will be intact.
Yeah. So is there a way that we can reverse this, and instead of letting the drugs pass by, we have more control and more in contact permeability, as you said, so that it doesn't pass by?
I think research now is still it's in infancy. They can say we need more research, but I think we need to know which bacteria in the microbiome that could do this job, so that we can give it to the patient. So the research, and we just did research on mice, on gene-free mice. I think we need to do further research on human and know which particular bacteria could actually close the blood-brain barrier.
Yes, I was actually going to ask you regarding your research, and since your research has been something that's very specific and over different stages, what do you think that are the current limitations of the research that you're currently conducting?
Current limitation of my research, the microbiome research.
The microbiome research, yes.
I think we need to take it to the clinic, and we need to know which bacteria is more beneficial, which bacteria could have this effect. Because we have many billions of bacteria in our gut, and there are some good bacteria like lactobacillus, bifidobacteria that are in the yogurt that could actually be beneficial for health.
So you want the current limitations, we can say the investigations being a bit more practical.
Yes.
And they are becoming a bit more physical. And this is where my question comes again. The practical and physical investigations, do they still continue under the biomedical scientist sector, or does it go to a different sector, pharmacy or biomedical engineering or medicine? Who's responsible on these physical investigations?
It's a multidisciplinary. Everybody
comes to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I will ask you a question that I want your opinion on, right? Basically, from what you have told me, that biomedical scientists do provide the information, and then later on they are delivered for biomedical engineers, or we can say the other sectors, to make these informations and data analysis come to the real world and come to the market. And why do we feel like with so much research that is available, there isn't these products that are available in the market? Considering one of your papers has already more than 1,000 citations, which is quite impressive, it shows that it's an important, we can say, project that you're working on. Why are they not working to bring a product to the market right now?
I think it's a long process, actually. First, you have the idea, you test it in cell culture, then it goes you do some animal studies, and then it has to go through clinical trial. So it's a very long process from the idea to the product. It takes time. That's the only reason, I think. Time and funding.
Mm-hmm. And do you think, what do you expect your research is going to look like later on in the physical form? Is it going to be medication? Is it going to be dosages that will be given in healthcare centers? Or how is it going to specifically work?
Maybe you can find a good probiotic. We can select the best bacteria and then give them to patients who take antibiotics to reverse their microbiome. But the thing is that the gut has billions of bacteria. So even if you take like probiotic, you cannot change the composition of the microbiome. It's more complicated, actually, than just getting probiotics and then things will change.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a magic. It needs further research, I believe.
Let's say we're done with the part of the brain. Now comes the part of the placenta and the reproductive systems that you were talking about. What is the relation between the microbiomes and the reproductive systems that you mentioned earlier, like the placenta and, for example, also
the male?
Yes, on the male side as well.
Yeah. So I had two papers, like on the male, the effect of microbiome on the male reproductive system, and we noticed that in gene-free mice, they had lower. If you don't have microbiome, or you have imbalanced microbiome, your testosterone level will be less, decreased, and also the number of the sperms will be less. So for a male, that's very important.
Mm-hmm. And are these microbiomes specific to the reproductive system, or are you just talking about any sort of imbalancement in the microbiomes that are available in the body?
Well, my research was on the total microbiome. We didn't check like a specific organ, but if you don't have the proper microbiome, or these mice didn't have any microbiome, they were gene-free. So that affected the testosterone level and the sperm count.
And did it also affect the efficiency of the sperm cells, or they were just the same? It's just the quantity that was
The
less.
quantity.
Mhm.
We haven't looked at the motility of the sperms. We haven't done the further analysis, but I think it's worth doing.
And what about the female side and on the side of women?
The female side and on the placenta, I did lots of research on the placenta, and we noticed that if you don't have microbiome, your placenta will be less developed. The blood vessels in the placenta will be less. You have less blood vessels. Also, the tight junction will be less in these. So more harmful compound could cross the placenta and move to the fetus.
Mhm.
So it's very important.
And mentioning a research like that, do doctors now take it in consideration when there is we can say a pregnant woman coming in? Does the type of medications that they give her in case that she is sick with something that is completely unrelated to the pregnancy, do they still continue with antibiotics? Because we know that there is a relation between antibiotics and microbiomes, right? So how do doctors consider something like this when they're dealing with a pregnant woman?
Well, antibiotics they are not always bad. Sometimes if the mother has an infection because if you have an infection during pregnancy, that could lead to preterm birth, and you don't want that. So they will flood the mother with antibiotic to protect the baby. But on the other hand, I think it's really important that if it's a normal pregnancy, not a threatened pregnancy, to have good diet like yogurt, kefir laban that we have in the market that have loads of good bacteria in it. It's good for the mother to have a healthy diet. And usually women, when they are pregnant, they feel that they could eat for two persons. It's not. It shouldn't be like that way. You should eat healthy, keep your weight, because we have lots of very high level of high incidence of gestational diabetes in Qatar. And it's like 25% compared to other countries. It's because women they just eat. Once you know you are pregnant, you can eat whatever
You can eat as much as
but
you like.
that's not true. You shouldn't gain more than 15 kilogram. You should between 10. Your weight should increase by 10 to 15 kilogram. That's maximum. But here in Qatar, they go up to 20. And I was one of them. In my first pregnancy, I gained 20 kilos. But then I realized, no, you should try to control your diet. And you know what? When you are pregnant, in the last month of pregnancy, because of the effect of the hormone, you have prolactin hormone because your body is preparing you to breastfeed, and these hormones they increase your appetite, so you feel you want to eat more. And sometimes it's not the mother; it's the hormone itself that make you want
Pregnancy cravings.
pregnancy cravings. So try to control your diet, avoid having gestational diabetes, eat healthy food, good with good amount of probiotics that
Okay, so synthesis of protein and microbiomes, how are they related to each other?
So microbiomes are very important. So they produce short chain fatty acids. They produce vitamin like vitamin K. They help us digest plant foods. So without the microbiome, we cannot digest these foods. But they have many. They also are involved in hormone metabolism. They have many function, these microbiomes. So we cannot see it as a human. We always have microbiome because we are exposed to the environment. And germ-free mice are experimental, but in real life, we all have microbiome. But I can see if there is an imbalance in the microbiome, or if you take loads of antibiotics, that could lead to unpleasant consequences.
Mm-hmm. And regarding antibiotics, we'll get to it later, but I wanted to continue with you to the point of how do microbiomes get transferred from the placenta to the child?
So there are two theories. Some say that the placenta is sterile. There are no microbiome in the placenta. One study came out and said that the placenta has its own microbiome, but then other study came on and said that this is not correct. So because inside your body, the placenta is sterile. So the baby is sterile. It has no microbiome before birth. Once the baby is delivered, it goes through the vagina if it's a normal delivery. So it will be exposed to the mother's vagina, vaginal microbiome. And if the baby is born through C-section, It's not a normal delivery. Usually they say that because usually when you give birth, they will put the baby on your chest. So the babies who are born through C-section have more like a sort of skin microbiome in their system. And the babies who are born normally, they have like more of vaginal microbiome. But then things change as you grow. It depends also the type of milk. If the babies are breastfed, they have a different microbiome compared to the babies who are formula fed. They have different type of microbiome. But as they grow, once they reach 2 years old, the microbiome becomes stable. We all have a core microbiome. There's a change, but we have the same core microbiome as humans.
Okay, so I have a specific question. So you said it's more depending on the way of delivery. It can be on two types. How does the baby or the child during the birth absorb them into their body? Because normally it's just contact of the baby's skin, right, to the mother's skin.
Yes.
How does it get absorbed into the body?
Because once you have a skin microbiome, right? If you have like a baby in your skin and close to you, and the mother always carries the baby, it will transfer.
It will get transferred.
Yeah, get transferred.
And what are the effects of... So you said there are two studies, which will make things a bit confusing now, but...
I believe the other study, actually, I believe that they are sterile. The babies are in a sterile environment before birth, but once they go, after delivery, they gain the microbiome. This is what I believe, and many researchers believe.
Because you talking about how basically microbiomes can affect how efficient the placenta is, or how tightly held the placenta is, how is that going to affect the baby? Will the baby be born with a weak immune system? Or will the baby be born with, let's say, relatively less growth in terms of the size? How's it going to affect the child?
Like if you have an imbalanced microbiome, your placenta will be affected. And if the placenta is everything for the child. It's the brain, it's like the lung of the child, the gut of the child. So the baby and the lung, the gut of the fetus actually doesn't work. It gets its food through the placenta, through the mother, through the blood vessels. So the placenta is everything. So if you have an less developed placenta, you will have a less developed newborn. Yeah.
And is there a way that the child can basically replace that sort of deficiency, or once they start with the deficiency at the start, it just continues as it is? Or are there ways to actually bring it back?
They can catch up.
They can catch up.
Yeah, they can. I think they can catch up. Even preterm babies, they are born preterm, premature, but now with the technology and the incubators, now many preterm babies, they catch up actually, and they are normal. So I believe they can catch up. It depends how severe it is, the severity of the how severe is
the deficiency.
The deficiency.
And regarding antibiotics, doctors sometimes will tell us to have yogurt or have kefir milk because it does help with the whole process of antibiotics. So I wanted you to tell me first, what is the relation between antibiotics and microbiomes, briefly, so that we can get into basically the limitations and all of the issues that happen with antibiotics.
Yeah, the thing is with antibiotic, they kill the bad bacteria that is causing the infection, and it can also kill the good bacteria, which you don't want that, right? So now some doctors, they try to ask you to drink, to take yogurt or to drink kefir, laban, which is in the market. Some doctors even might prescribe probiotics to try to make up for the lost microbiome. But I still believe antibiotics are very powerful, and they can actually get rid of the good and bad bacteria. And when you take a probiotic, still you don't reverse the whole microbiome. Maybe you reverse some with the good bacteria, but not all. It's like putting a pill in a sea. We have billions of microbiome, And when you take a normal probiotic, you are trying, but still, I think maybe we should think about the dosage or something, and do more research about it, I believe.
And in addition to that, we know that our body builds resistance to antibiotics.
Yes.
Right. So when you build resistance to antibiotics, normally the dosage will increase.
You have to change the antibiotic.
You have to change the antibiotic. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Because this type of antibiotic, the body is resistant to it, or the bacteria, is no longer responding to it.
And does that improve from the microbiomes in the future, or it doesn't have an effect on the microbiomes? Because does that technically mean that the microbiomes built some sort of resistance?
This is not it's not the microbiome who build the resistance. It's the pathogenic bacteria, the nasty bacteria that we want to get rid of, build the resistance.
Mm-hmm. So does that mean that the good bacteria will also build resistance, or no?
The antibiotic, we are targeting the pathogenic bacteria, and they are the one who gain resistance. They are the nasty one that we want to get rid with the antibiotic, but this antibiotic is not working, it's not killing the nasty bacteria. But sometimes you have like the microbiome could be an opportunistic pathogen. Like if your immune system is not working very well, they will start to, in the normal situation, when you have a good immune system, they are not causing any harm. But if your immune system is you are stressed or anything that happened to you, your immune system is compromised, then these microbiome, one example is the Helicobacter pylori. That is it's considered a normal microflora in the stomach. Sometimes when you have, they are usually, most of us might have this type of bacteria, but in some of us, and sometimes this bacteria is an opportunistic. So if your immune system is compromised, it could attack the stomach, and then you have to take a specific antibiotic, a long-term antibiotic, to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. And is there an alternative to antibiotics? Because from the way you kind of described it, it's like we can say it's like a nuclear bomb that just gets
It's not a nuclear bomb. Sometimes if you have an infection, you need antibiotic to clear that infection. So antibiotics are not always bad. If they are necessary, you should take them. If they are not necessary, you should not take them. Because sometimes when we have a flu or we have like a normal virus infection and we go to the health center and they give us antibiotic, and antibiotic doesn't kill viruses. So I think when they are properly, when the antibiotic is properly prescribed, then that should be fine. They are not a nuclear bomb, in my opinion. It depends how you prescribe them. If you have an infection, you need the antibiotic.
And finally, I would like to ask you for an advice for the students of biomedical sciences and students in general, I guess, in Qatar University.
For the student biomedical sciences, I think be proud of yourself. This is a very nice discipline, and enjoy the journey. I know some courses are very tough, but try to enjoy your journey. You will miss it once you graduate. And to the student in general, do what you like. Have passion with the major that you chose. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for your advice. And by that, we reached an end to our episode of Athar. We would like to thank our sponsors, Tasweer for media and production, for their efforts throughout the season. And by that, we reached an end. Thank you so much, and we see you on the next episodes of Athar.